Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here. Olukayode, you are really welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this precious evening. I am like extra excited because I get a chance to just hang out with my sister and friend, Just Ibe. We're talking about the vision manifesto, what it takes to transform the world, what it takes to change the world. And for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, last week, Saturday, this is the fourth edition in the talk show, and it has been extraordinary award. So I want to thank you for joining us this evening. I am eager to learn, eager to grow, eager to experience transformation in this, special edition. And I'm just looking forward to all the beautiful things that will happen even for you. So tell me where you are joining us from. And as soon as we have a bit more of our family members on board, we start to look through what we are learning in the course of the Visionary talk show and these brilliant conversations that we've been having. Okay, so where are you joining us from this precious evening, and how is your Friday evening going? I know that Friday evenings are sort of synonymous with just hanging out, having fun with friends and family, and it's just the perfect thing for us to do together this evening as friends and family. So you are welcome. Thank you for joining us, Idowu Olukayode. Maureen, you're welcome. Amaka Uzoka, thanks for joining us. Tolu Alasholo Dudu, you're welcome. Odupe O, Elizabeth Oyok, very excited to have you here. Shadi Omoni, you are especially welcome. My darling Dr. Wura Arowishegwe, thanks for joining us this evening. So where are you joining us from? Shade, I know, I do love my frames. I love me some of my frames. So Amaka is joining us from the UK. Faith is joining us from Belarus. You are especially welcome. Modipa is joining us from Ota in Ogun State. Fumilola is joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome, Olugbe Sola from beautiful British Columbia in Canada. You are especially welcome. Kezia from Ghana, thank you for being consistent. Bodem, thank you for joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Wura from Massachusetts in the US. We are excited to have you on board as well. Okay, Anuluapo, welcome, joining us from Lagos. Brala Day. Very excited to have you on board from Houston. So glad to have you. Adedamola from Lagos, Tosin from Lagos, Ifeoluwa from Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos is heavily represented this evening. I'm so happy to have you on board. Welcome, Eniton. Lola, thank you so much for joining us. We are on to such an extraordinary evening, and I'm eager to see all the beautiful experiences we're going to have, the mind shifts, the great learning, the transformational insights that will help us make better decisions. Don't forget that we've officially launched Visionary Compass. It's my 40-week Accelerator Program that helps you clarify, launch, and scale your next level assignments in the course of the year. And congratulations to those of you who are already on board. I can't wait to welcome a lot more family members as well. Thank you, Joy, joining us today from Uyo, Akwa Ibom. Shade joined us from Lagos, Eniton from Lagos. You are welcome, and I'm super excited to have you on board this evening. Okay, so let's have a bit more of our siblings join us in the next few minutes, and we will go on to start to talk about what your learning experience has been. How has this been for you? It has been revolutionary. Like, I am still like reeling from the wisdom, the insights that I caught from Lady Jokotade, Queen Omomi, Dr. Niiburi, and today I've got my sister and friend, Just Ibe. For me, my darling, it's been a little bit. What's up with us? We should maybe go for a date, just do like an online hangout. For me, welcome, join us from Toronto. Yinka from Houston, you are welcome. Yinke, welcome from Houston. Very excited to welcome you. Happy to have you here with us tonight. We can go on now to talk about what the most, refreshing transformational insights have been for you. Talk to me about your light bulb moments. What is going to stay with you for a long time? And maybe talk about the changes that you're making based on what you are learning. Give that to me. I'm excited to know how the experience has been for you, and the learnings, the insights that you're going to be working with going forward. Welcome, Temitayo from Dublin in Ireland, Omolola from Indiana. Very excited to welcome you, my friend and sister. So glad to have you here tonight. So what stands out for you? What are you thinking about? What have you been looking to change, to introduce, to sustain, to improve in your life because of the insights that our visionaries have been sharing with us? Okay, welcome IB today again from Port Harcourt in Nigeria. Excited to have you. Naomi from England, you are welcome. It always says, Fumi says, I went back to replace from Lady J and Queen O. The authenticity and the truths resonated with me. I love it. Idowu Kaide says, feature in your own future. So good. Bodam says, each speaker has brought a different level of fire. Dr. Nee shifted me into a realm I can't even explain. I couldn't sleep that night. I don't have an excuse. Exactly how I felt. Exactly how I felt. We don't have an excuse. You're welcome, Symbia from Lagos and Sheung from UK. Very excited to welcome you. So we're currently talking about what stands out for you. What significant insight have you drawn from this experience that you are going to be working with so far? What adjustments are you going to be making in your life because of this visionary talk show? And thank you so much for what you shared, but it is just exactly how I feel myself. I went after we ended that call that night. I went, to my room, sat up, and I said, whatever excuses I've ever had, I want to apologize for them. And that's what I was doing that night. I said, Lord, I'm actually sorry for any excuses I've been making about, maybe a discomfort in my life or something I'm not happy about. Right? If you haven't had time to check Dr. Niyi Borire's session out, I want to really encourage you to do that. Okay, Nene Oche from Abuja. I was with you in a different meeting just a few minutes ago. You are welcome. And for you, it's no more excuses. I love it. Temitayo says, no excuse whatsoever shall deter my greatness. So good. Olade Jolunike says, right from Lagos, Ikeja, Lagos, I'm here to recover from all the previous classes. Solitude is key for purpose fulfillment. I love it. Kaiser says, I want to look around and find someone to help. I got this from Dr. Nee. So good. Idowu says, learn to focus, be authentic. Fumi says, adjustments. I'm increasing quiet moments of solitude in her own life. So good. Toluwashe says, making conscious efforts to prioritize solitude. Yes. Temitopa, you're welcome from Lagos. Excited to have you. Shade says, to be able to forgive people regardless of whatever they have done to me. That stands out for me as well. IB says, the three speakers have confirmed the fact that commitment to God and self is an investment that produces harvest. It encouraged me to keep putting in the necessary investments. This is so good. Lady Jokotade took away the burden of what will people say now. I'm operating from a place of weakness. This is so good. Elizabeth says, after Lady Jokotade's session, I had much more sincere talk with God. Loved it. Loved it. Tolu She says, excelling in giving. Tomisin from Egypt, super excited to welcome you. What kept ringing to you from all the sessions is no excuses. Dr. Nee's session cannot be put into words. No excuses. Picturing the future I want to feature in, Cynthia says. Bimsola says, I watched the replay of Dr. Nee's session. Truly, we have no excuses. And Fulukemi says, prioritizing giving as a strategy. I love that so much. Oluwaseun says, I learned the power of focus. I've dipped the comfort zone, and I'm increasing quiet moments of solitude, looking beyond what is to what can be. Wow, I love this one very much. Looking beyond what is to what can be. This is really precious. Tim Tokwe says, for me, okay, that isn't a complete comment yet, so we'll wait to have it in full. I love it. Very beautiful. So I hear a number of people talking about no more excuses. Temitope said, I never knew I had so much character flaws until I sat down with myself, as suggested by Queen Omolmi, and I wrote them out. Temitayo Adewale. Wow. So this is you becoming self-aware on purpose so that you can get better. And that is like super, super precious. Okay. Oluwashim talked about the power of focus, and we read that. So beautiful. Temitayo also mentions how to recognize one's Melchizedek. Fumilola Lawal says, the power of solitude and being grounded in my identity has resonated with me so well. Dr. Nee's session was hands up. I must always show up, no excuse. And if I view my future, I can achieve it. Wow, so good. Folukemi says, I'm yet to recover from Dr. Nee's session. It emphasizes God's power of provision beyond our ability. And I love this one so much. Maureen says, if believing was a person, it would be Dr. Nee. He kept on showing up, getting up every day to go to school, even when there were no resources available to get him there. Faith moves. So good. Ebere says from Dr. Nee, faith is an action word. You don't just sit down helplessly. You go out doing whatever it takes to achieve your dreams. This is precious. Victoria says, value comes from one's blueprint and blueprint comes from quiet. I'm going to leave you to read Omolola's thoughts, and I will be back with you. Allow me to send an important message. Okay, I'm back. Nene says, another big takeaway for me from Dr. Borire is increased compassion. I never know my neighbor's backstory. So good. Give Temitope says, for me, Queen O made me go through self-image analysis that I made last year. I was able to update changes I've made. This exercise helped me to recognize some flaws I have now, and I'm consciously working on. I love it so much. This is so precious. Guys, we are getting ready to bring Just eBay on board. And so I'm going to spend the next 2 minutes just taking a few more thoughts from you about how impactful these sessions have been. And I'm so excited to receive this volume of feedback from you already about the different sessions. So happy to know that we're growing together and we're going to make this year and this decade the beginning of beginnings for us. And it's all about intentionality. It's all about intentionality. It's already in you, and it's hardwired in your DNA to live a great life. It's hardwired in your DNA to live an exceptional life. It's hardwired in your DNA to succeed while serving, right? To find the audience that you're gifted and you've got a calling for. And it doesn't have to be in business. It could be in ministry. It could be in career. It could be in the public sector or civil service or the nonprofit arena. Whatever it is you've been giving, and you don't have to be the one who started it. You could work within an established system but still be able to fulfill your purpose. Whatever you've been giving, know that hardwired within your DNA is the capacity for greatness. It's the capacity for not just success, but also significance, right? And that's why we're having this conversation, meeting everyday people like us who are doing extraordinary things, pushing the frontiers forward, making a change and making it easy for us to also go ahead and create those changes in our own lives. Okay, let's take Naomi. She says, so many things Dr. Nee said, but what he shared about learning to use the reward system of dopamine to drive us in the direction of vision, that obviously stood out for you. And that's exciting. Tosin Sani, very excited to have you on board this evening, my darling. I learned to borrow joy from my future reward system to sustain me on the journey to getting there. Now, that one is good, though. So good. Amaka talks about making your purpose stronger than your pain. Bralade says, right inside you is a capacity for not just success, but also significance. Thank you for highlighting that quote. So good. We take this final one from Amarachi. She said, I learned the power of the ask. That vision carries you. When you have a clear vision, you will do what it takes. I learned the power of staying with God to also clarify my vision. And this is the moment we've been waiting for. I'm going to be bringing up my sister, friend, and extraordinary visionary who has powered through varying seasons and dimensions of her big assignments to serve the world, to make humanity, the world a better place, to serve humanity and to create change, particularly now on the continent of Africa. She's the founder, president at the Association of African Startups. She's also really known as a sales guru and has consulted for individuals and corporations to crack their sales strategy and to be able to radically improve their productivity and business performance. Allow me to welcome Just Omomo Ibe.
Thank you, DDK.
I'm so excited to have you this evening, my darling. Gosh, how are you feeling today?
Well, quite frankly, after watching Dr. Nee's session, I wept a lot. I wept so much because his session just made me realize that there's nothing you're going through that God isn't watching. He's there. He's there. Like, oh God, his session was more than emotional for me in so many ways.
Yeah, I tell you. And I feel like there is sadly a culture of the two extremes that I find, right? In our world today, there is this not telling the true story of success enough if you're African, because you just won't be like, when your yam is cooked, you put your hand and you cover it, right? And or you have the other extreme of people living a lie and portraying a success they have not accomplished. Right? So they take people on a journey they've not been, making it impossible for both them and the people they take along to get there. Exactly. So I find those two extremes. It feels like the people who are truly on about something meaningful and who are getting real results. I couldn't say it during Dr. Nee's session, right? But this guy is, let me not say, but like he is in wealth doing what he's doing, like in millions of dollars. Like he is doing so well financially because he's creating value. He's getting rewarded for that value that he's creating, right? But you don't hear a lot of those stories of young millionaires in dollars who are fulfilling God's purpose, God's calling over their lives and not doing it the wrong way, right? And I want you guys to think about this with me and let me know your thoughts. It looks to me like one of the biggest challenges we're faced with is that people are either having good success and not talking about it, or people are not having success but creating an image of it. And I mean, we've got to find the right balance somewhere, right? Where good, truly successful people can share their journey and becomes not just an inspiration, but a navigation tool for others who are not yet where they want to be like, this possibility exists and I don't have to compromise. And on the path of purpose, it's actually possible.
Yeah, they can truly see themselves in the person's journey, on a path, the person's journey, and put themselves to say, if I'm here and this person got through it, then I can get through it. You know, real-time stories that would inspire people to actually really move, right?
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Okay, guys are welcoming you. They're very excited to have you. So that's just to let you know that you're at home. This is family. We love you very much. This evening is going to be important for all of us, and I want to see where that leads. I'm sort of trying to set my lighting to be less distracting to me. Apologies. Okay. So I'm going to jump on to the first thing that blows my mind about you, and it's your fire.
Oh.
It's your fire. I mean, I remember the first time that I encountered you, I could not sit down. I was like, who is this person? What level of fire is this one? Right? And the reason I want to ask is not just because I love the fire, but it's also because I feel like we're in a society that makes people strong look wrong. So how have you navigated maybe being criticized for being too intense, for being too much? How have you managed those dynamics? Have you always been received by
So,
everyone that you come in contact with?
yeah, I get that. So before now, everywhere I entered, there was always this aura of, um, hello, GDK. I think we lost her. Do I wait for her to come back? Okay, she's back.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So in the past, whenever I entered into a place, there was always this aura of pushing everybody else to the background and you being the one saved. And it wasn't something I did deliberately. It was just almost as though it just can't hide. I don't know whether I think that's my specific, what's the word, DNA. I cannot explain what. But you see, while I was working in the banking sector, to a very large extent, whenever I entered into meetings, people were always put off. But when they recognized that my gift always got them to get their way, they started becoming my allies. So we enter into meetings, nobody's able to challenge status quo, and everybody's just folding their hands when they know it's going to kill them. And I'll be like, no, 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 this can't work. And I'll get up, talk about it, give valid points, and all of them will be cheering, yeah, 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 underneath their tables. So after a while, people who couldn't stand the fire, so to speak, became allies because they recognized that it was serving them in the best way possible. But that was just one side. On the other side, in my former church, my husband is very quiet. My husband and I are opposites of each other. And we would go to meetings as a couple. Then you would realize that I was always the one talking while he's always just very quiet. And a lot of men had issues with it. Why would your wife be the one talking? What's wrong with you?
Yes.
Who he married. And he would be comfortable with his wife just arranging it. So a lot of men were put off initially with it. But here's where I find the balance. If I'm comfortable in my skin and I exude that energy of comfortableness, the world will recognize it and treasure it for what it is. So if I erase any iota of feeling that I appear too much, people will never really be able to catch that I appear too much energy.
Okay.
That's what I mean. So I had to settle that with me that this is who I am unapologetically. And when I come out, instead of emitting the energy of too much, I started to emit the energy of you need this fire to move to the next level.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now that one is good. So you're saying, look, if you are always personally struggling as well with this feeling of maybe they're going to think it's too much.
Yep.
If you don't completely embrace and accept who you are, then you are going to emit that same energy. But the moment you like, look, this is how I'm wired, and it's a blessing to others. When they meet you, they're going to cut the fire like, you need this thing. It's for you. I'm here to serve you. Wow. That is like Formula One deliverance for many strong women. I'm telling you, because so many strong women are shrinking. And I just want to take a moment to speak to that, and I would love for you to speak to it as well. In this year of what I've continued to call the future forward female, and there's so many things you can call it. That is nothing, the core of it is, it's a year for God's daughters. He's going to be putting his hand so mightily on the female folk that you may have been literally underground, faceless and nameless. But this year, if you latch onto the vision, the idea, the instruction is giving you, you are going to break out and be at the forefront of something really meaningful. And you're going
Yep.
to see connecting dots between you and the people and resources you require. So it's important for you not to shrink anymore. We can't be safe and significant at the same
Oh,
time.
you just said it.
We can't be safe and significant at the same time. And the war against you, you think it's the person who said something unnice about you or who stole your friend or that's not the real war. The war against you is the one on your inside. The
Yep.
one that
Oh
makes
God.
you able to
Okay.
sit on
Yeah.
your throne and wear
Yeah.
your crown and be
Yeah.
good and be okay. So
Yep.
no more playing small, no more shrinking, because the way to sit on your throne and wear your crown is to really accept who you are and be okay with it. And I know it's going to be a journey for some people. And that's why I love when we start talking about affirmations, really writing out what makes you strong, taking assessments to confirm your strength. Because you require a schooling, right? You require a schooling. You have to take a degree in yourself. I don't know how to say that. You almost want to take an MBA in the study of you,
Yep.
because you cannot deploy an armory you're not familiar with. So there's
True.
no way
Love
they're
that.
going to be put to the highest use
Love that.
if you're not conversant with yourself. What are your thoughts, Just?
Love that. I love it so much. I want to add a twist. You see, look at the world from history of beginnings. Our
Mm,
world is deteriorating every day.
mm,
Every day. Climate change, economic downturn, terrorism, kidnappings. The list is endless. And guess what? Men have been at the helm of affair for God knows how long. And let me shock you, it's not a coincidence that God put in us something that is able to nurture. That means
yeah,
we're able to pick things, nurture it until we deliver results. So, what that goes to tell you is that if there's going to be a repair, a rebuild agenda, women are going to have to dust their crowns and get up and carry their crowns and sit on it. That's what's going to happen. If not, we will not even see any significant change. I spoke at African Women Industrialization Awards, and women were still talking about managing their small business. And when I took the mic, I said, "Excuse me, women, what are you talking about small business in this era?"
what
Very
is
recently,
small business?
they found a mountain of gold in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I should hear women saying, "I want to go buy that mountain of gold because we need to sponsor this woman for election." You guys are talking small businesses. Do you recognize the magnitude of what we have to do as a women fold? Of course, for our world, not because we're trying to be powerful women, but because our world needs us. If you recognize it that way, the people who are being kidnapped every day, they're your children, they're people's children. So the anguish that it will cost, it should cost it more for women. Because every day I watch those news, something in me breaks. And I'm saying, God, what should I do? And that's why it is time for women to get angry in their spirit, to pick up their mantle to say, you know what, let's enter into that place. Whatever we need to divide, we divide. Whatever we need to pull down, uproot, tear down, we tear down, because it's time for us to plant what God wants to see. And of course,
Yes,
what God wants to see is what will be beneficial to us, our
to
children,
humanity. Yes.
everything. So take it this way. Everything else is failing because you haven't done your own part as a woman.
Wow. Okay, now.
Once you do your own part, you would recognize that 1 million of us doing our own part, you will significantly see a change. And you see, we're not just saying this because we want to motivate you. Look at that country that has women in parliament. What's the name of this country? Is it Netherlands or Denmark? I can't remember one of those countries. Majority of everybody from president to prime minister, all of them are female. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they managed it the best.
Yes.
Look at Rwanda. They have lots of women in parliament. Their economy is turning around the fastest. What does this
Yes.
to tell you? There is a mantle sitting and waiting for you to get up and embrace it. It's there. And I can give you proofs. DDK, the other day, I went into like a long fast. One of those I haven't ever really done before, because I was trying to challenge something, right? And then in this fast, I entered into a vision, so to speak. And in this vision, I was coming back from a Yaba market in this vision, carrying a nylon bag of things I bought for my children. And then I saw my husband go Finland, thank you, Modipe. I saw my husband going forward. And as I was going forward, I was calling him, babe, 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 wait for me. The man turned back and he continued going in that vision. And I was wondering, why is my husband not waiting for me? After calling him a second time, he said to come back. But as he was coming back, I noticed adjacent to me, there was a man all black from head to toe. At this point, I couldn't see body. I could only see a black figure standing in a kiosk with a red eye, just watching me with anger and anguish, watching me very sternly. And I turned, I looked at the person. At this point, my husband was trying to come back, but he had left the scene because it was now me and this person that was adjacent me, staring at me, very angry. And then I stood, I was looking at him. As I was looking at him, I just heard the Holy Spirit say, you're going to have to go on your knees and begin to worship. So imagine a strange instruction. Somebody is staring at you in a strange place. I didn't understand where we were, but everywhere went dark all of a sudden. And as I heard that voice in this vision, I went straight down on my knees and I started to worship God recklessly. As I was worshiping God recklessly, I immediately noticed there were 4 mighty snakes surrounding me. Front, 2 at my back, all surrounding me. And the Holy Spirit said to me clearly in that vision, do not open your eye, continue worshiping. And as I was worshiping recklessly, fire came from somewhere and burnt those snakes to ashes. As it burnt them to ashes, immediately a mantle fell in that vision, and I held the mantle, and then I woke up. Immediately, can you hear me?
Super well.
Immediately, I woke up in the vision. The Holy Spirit said to me, something has been given unto you. As you go through the days, I would explain it to you what it should be for. That's a mantle that was exchanged in the realm of the spirit. And the significance of it in real life, of course, after several days, I have gotten all the explanations. Why am I sharing this particular encounter with you? There are mantles dancing around, waiting for the children, the daughters of God, to stand up and collect. Those who collect, let me tell you, is enthronement. What happens after enthronement? Significance, immortalized impact. The list is endless. Why we're not after those things we want to get, but if you follow God, I'm sorry, you'll be decorated. It's just, it's one of those things that we call, right? So let's look at it this way. The mantles are rolling around. There's no specific criteria. It's not who is fair. It's not your degree. It's not your qualification. It's not your social status. It's not your background. So all those lies you have told yourself, where I'm coming from, this one, conditioning. I'm sorry, God is not interested. He needs somebody who just wants to submit. Use the Lord. And the rest, he will clean it up. You will not even see it after a while. So I was struggling with this to be a thing of the past. So let me just rest it here so that we can enter into the meat of today's conversation.
What? You know what? One of the things that you have said that feels to me like an answer and a plug for anyone who is asking, DDK, this whole visionary thing you were mentioning and all these friends of yours you're bringing, and I don't feel like a visionary, right? And I don't know what to do. Like, I don't feel like I've caught a vision. I feel the answer was right in the statement when you started to talk about the burden. You see, there's something very evil about comfort. And I say with caution. So there's a dimension of comfort that is connected to rest of soul, right? But there's a dimension of comfort that alienates you and cuts you out from carrying a burden that converts you into a solution provider in your generation.
That's all.
So, yeah, God wants to give you rest. He wants to give you rest, and you're going to have that. You see, but there is something about comfort when you're just okay with the way things are, except you are agitated sufficiently until you are sufficiently provoked. There are dimensions of what you carry that will never be released. So I love when you started to say, you will see things in the news and you'll be like, what do you want me to do? We are really selfish. You see, you can't. You can't be safe and significant at the same time. You also can't be selfish and significant at the same time. And this is why this is a bigger conversation than you go create a course and try to put a price to it, sell and make money.
That one,
so that you can have a lead magnet. Quickly start that project so that you can create a logo and then you can put a few pictures of children you bought school bags for. It's bigger than that.
Yep.
It's bigger than that. We can't be selfish and significant at the same time. Anyone in history that got a place to create a change and move into legacy catched the burden of solving a problem in society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what hustle does to us, hustle downgrades people to the level of survival. Hustle simply says, let me do anything I can do, to feed, to stay above the water. And let me balance this. It's possible you're in a season of your life where there are big demands, you're struggling with debts, maybe you've even made some wrong financial decisions, or your father or your husband has, and you are under pressure. That's fine, right? There could be a season of your life where you are almost blindsided to the desire to solve problems. All you want is your own problem solved. But Dr. Nee taught us that in the midst of your pain, you must always still be on the search for purpose. So right in the midst of your struggle, your challenge, Didike, I can't pay my school fees. Didike, our rent is due. Didike, my business is going down. I can't even pay stuff, whatever. Didike, I've been in a waiting season. I have a special needs child. I'm going through a painful experience. I stand with you. I honor, respect, love you. And I do not despise what pain looks like. But I want to beg you, don't let your pain make you blinded.
Yes.
Don't let it consume you. Let there be a portion of your heart, no matter how small, that is to beating, to do something for others. This is really important.
Can I give you an example, a typical example that they can touch?
Yes.
3 days ago, there's so much I have need for money for because of all the different things we're doing in different projects and what we're on. And I was still saying to God, you can see all these bills. What's up? What are we doing? And this morning, one of my mentees sent me a message and says that it's an admission she's been chasing for God knows how long. And now she has the opportunity, but she cannot afford it. And while she was talking to me, the Holy Spirit said, you are going to chat somebody else and tell the person to give you the money for her. And I'm like, we had a conversation. And I said, yeah, I know, but this needs to be something. So while I was going, and see, forget that I'm smiling. And when I say I had need for it, I had desperate need for it. Desperate need for it. But I have mastered how to, even in the storm, I just smile and say, yeah, Dad, I'm here. I know you're here. Let's keep going together. And then he made me reach out to someone that I will never reach out to for myself. And he says, talk to the person, tell the person to pay for this thing on your behalf. And while I was still trying to say, what does this sound? I obeyed immediately. As it was telling me I was doing it, even if in my mind I was questioning it. Immediately I sent the message. The lady said, please send account details. I'm like, just like that.
Yes.
And that was it. The lady sent the account details. I sent to the girl. I'm sure the girl in her mind, she cannot understand what's going on. But that's for later gist. So inside your pain, God will be looking at you and saying, one more me. I'm seeing you. But can I check whether there's compassion in your heart so that even when you are in need, you will not stumble on others because you want to sort your own needs first.
Hey!
Even when you are in need, you will master how to say, I know I can handle myself. Can I help this person who may not be able to handle themselves, or who may not survive till tomorrow, or who may lose their own admission because you still have 1 week or 2 weeks for your own to expire? So let's not get consumed in the actual pain that we forget that inside of it, God is watching to see your heart. He wants to see your heart. Because the visionary journey is a long one. Don't let me even say, if we start it, it's a long one. You will be tested. I need you to understand that. You'll be tested for the good. You'll be tested for all kinds of things. In fact, everything will attempt to destroy what you represent.
Hey!
Yes. It's almost as though when the enemy recognizes that there is an unusual deployment of the angels of God in one direction, he goes for his own board meeting with his people to say, yo guys, I don't know what's happening here, but it looks like something major is about to happen. Give me data, information, statistics. What can we use to demoralize or demobilize this person? And then from left, from right, from center, all kinds of things are hitting you. And like, no, 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 God, you see that vision thing? Hold on. Let me quickly sort all these things. My dear, it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. The minute you have caught it and things begin to get thrown at you, know that you have started touching something. Hey, it's at that point that you press your throttle and say, you know what? Let us accelerate. So that while he's throwing, you are doing it like this and say, and that's where maturity will come in as a visionary, where you will develop the eyes of the spirit to every time step back from situations to look, have an aerial view to say, what is God doing? Not what is the enemy throwing. There are two different things. What is God doing? Not what is the enemy throwing. Today I was telling my friends, one of my friends, and she said, okay, she wanted to do a particular event and she has gotten A and B sorted, remaining C, E, and F. And then she called me this evening and said, C, D, and F. I said, why are you counting C, D, and F that has not been done? What about A and B that has been done? At every point in time, what is God doing in a situation that is being thrown at you? If you focus on what God is doing, you have an armory to at every time deflate what the enemy is throwing. And you see, it has different dimensions. For those of you who are married, there are those days that God will tell you that your marriage is sorted, everything I've sorted it, and you will come home, the kind of fight that will be waiting for you. You not be saying, God, what did you say? What am I saying? At those days, you step back and say, what is happening here? In the eyes of the spirit, God, what's going on here? What are you doing? And he's saying, don't worry, my daughter. I'm doing something. You just stay with me and do as I say. And in that wisdom, you would recognize that what you ordinarily scatter body for, you just be usually calm and loving. And that's a way of resisting the devil. Resist the devil all the time. It's not, I bind you, I cast you. It's not always that. It's not always that. Sometimes he's just retreating and understanding what he's doing and saying, I get your deal, but guess what? You're not working today. So yeah, I just need to quickly give this angle so we recognize that this visionary life, the future is great. The journey is not always sweet. It's not. It's not. But as long as you are able to, one of the things I say to people is, just have a conversation with God, beg him to show you where you're going. I always say that. If you don't know where you're going, you will be shaky on the journey and you may fall. So beg God. And God is such a good father. Anything you ask him, see, take it from just today. Anything in this life you ask God, he will give you. According to his will. According to his word. Tell him, please show me where we're going. If you have caught it, it gives you a conviction. And then you now do what I call backcasting. Backcasting is plotting a graph from where you have seen to where you are to start creating milestones. Of course, these milestones can change as the Spirit of God leads, but at least you have seen where you're going. Let me make it practical so that it doesn't look like I'm speaking English. When the Lord said to me, just you're going to rebuild the walls of Africa in Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 17. And he said to me, rebuilding the walls of Africa, I said, Father, show me this thing, because there's no picture of a built Africa. Africa has never been built. And then he took me first to say, you see, that period that Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem and he spent 52 days. How do you think he felt when he finished building and he saw his work? I said, of course, elated. He said, yeah, you plug yourself into that mix and act as though you were inside there when they were building that thing, so that you get a level of joy that nobody can explain to you. So I had to do that to catch a conviction that Africa can be built. As a matter of fact, it's not even can. Whenever God gives you an assignment, God has completed it.
Yes.
Let me say it again. Let me say it again. And that brings me to a question DDK asked in one of those. What is my definition of vision? My definition of vision is catching a glimpse of something that has been completed in the realm of the spirit. My job is to photocopy and replicate it here on realm Earth. That's what a vision is. So that means at every point, if there is a hitch, you can go back to him and say, Father, when you were building this thing, I know you were done. When you were building this thing, when you got here, what's the wisdom I need to quickly get out of here? And like, oh, this one, okay, do this, do this, do that. If you have that conviction, you recognize that you can follow him hand to hand, leg to leg. Now back to my conversation about going into the Nehemiah time and really relishing that moment so that I can have a vivid picture, of what it looks like to build Africa. And then after that, I started to say to him, okay, let's break this thing down because it's big. If you tell me to build Africa, 50 years, I will start it and hand over the baton to several generations. I said, so let's break it down. What does it even mean to build Africa? It's people, it's businesses, it's infrastructure. And it's people, they're broken down into different things. Its businesses are broken down into different things. The startups, the mid-level, the underbanked, the unbanked. It's a dimension. So laboring in the place of prayer and communion would help you break down the entire vision that would help you break it into milestones. So what the Lord said to do with me, one of those days when we had our boardroom meeting is bring out a book. Let's draw out what your group of companies are, so that we know what company or what subsidiary is handling what. Right? And so the infrastructure part, this is the subsidiary handling it. This part, this is the we broke it down, and I saw a group of companies, 7 or 8 plus companies. We said about 3 or 4. And he said to give milestones. Okay, at this point, we will start this. At this point, all of these things, if you put it together in its entirety, we're rebuilding Africa. Because once we build infrastructure, we're building the people, we're building the business, we're building it's a whole lot. So the first thing I always say to people is, please beg him, show me where I'm going. Once he shows you, you will now do the work to sit with him to say, let's break it down together, so that I don't bet, or so that it doesn't look like my one drop is disappearing inside the ocean. Once he breaks it down to you, you have a singularity of focus per time in every dimension, in every in every mission per project or per the company, so to speak. So with tasks, we know that in the first 1 year, this is our strategic objective. By second year, we have what we will do. By third year, up to the 5th year, we have strategic goals for tasks. Same thing with the other area, the foundation that is rebuilding infrastructure and empowering widows and children. Same thing with the Justify is a lot. So once you labor and have your documents, if I show you my PowerPoint or my Excel sheet now, if there's an investor that wants to invest in me now, I have it all sorted. Because all he needs to do is look at everything. They'll be like, where did she develop this? I developed it in a place of communion. So as a visionary, your greatest work is sitting with God, not social media. As a visionary, your greatest work is sitting with God, not social media. Because the things I have achieved in 1 month of sitting with God, some people go to school 6 years and they don't understand it still. And I'm not saying this pridefully. Well, pridefully in God, I'm just saying it to tell you, auntie, uncle, that clarity you say you don't have. If you sit with God 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, how hungry are you? He will open it up to you. And then, of course, your willingness of heart to be able to follow will make him just say, I can see this girl's heart. Because sometimes you're talking A, your heart is saying, show me so that I can go and show them on Instagram. Yeah, God is looking at you.
So good.
He won't answer. Because as much as God listens to our mouth, it's our heart is more interested or most interested in. So you must tell God to do a work in your heart so that you see this God you are following is from the depth of your heart. Because just like I can recognize friends who like me for sincerity, I can also recognize friends who like me from their hearts. God can recognize children who like him from his heart, from their heart, and wants what they want with him with everything they have. In your strength, I recognize that in your strength, as flesh, you may not be able to do it, but you can beg the Holy Spirit to help you. I mean, who is speaking to you today? I was not always like this. I mean, everything you're seeing with me is 6 months plus, if not 7 months or 8 months or 9 months, you know. But you see, the minute I knew that there was the other side of life, there was this vision side of life, I say, we finish it here. Finish it here, meaning I drop it all off to say, if there are heights and lengths and breadths and width in this God, I will go to the length.
Yes.
And that should be the posture of your heart in this visionary journey. And see,
Yes.
don't see you're following God because you want to be a visionary like DK, according to that your lecturer. don't say, don't say I'm following God because I want to be like DK, a visionary. Follow God for what he wants to do with your heart, what he has in stock for you. Because there's something written in the volume of the books for you from inception. Once that's your singular drive, as you begin to follow him with that posture of heart, he begins to open you to you. Because he has your manual, you don't. Everything you think you know today outside God is ambition and is infinitesimal. Let me say it again. Everything you know today outside God is infinitesimal. It's so ridiculously small that if you knew, you would see that you were cheating yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, as in it's called cheating. Okay, imagine that I was busy calling myself sales guru, sales guru, sales guru, 20,000 followers, 20,000, and the first conversation I had with him, when he showed me, I almost feel like breaking out in tongues here. When he showed me, I laid down prostrate on the floor and I said, God, I am sorry.
Yes.
I am sorry. Because I have held on to what the world thought was kingdom for success. Meanwhile, he's looking at you and saying, oh God, you're grappling. You're grappling. Who are you? So all of you here at the end of this class, you see all those things you wrote at the beginning of the year, my goals, my this, my that. If it's outside God, and when I say outside God, when I say outside God, it means you sat down, you went to a vision board party, they told you draw this, draw that. You were drawing and feeling fly. Auntie, please trash it. And go on a 3-day fast if you can.
Yes.
And say, Father, I have been walking in error. Have mercy on me and show me as you see me, not supposedly what my purpose, all those things, what am I just purpose doing? Show me as you see me. And as you start to go on that journey, silencing the noise, silencing the distraction, silencing all the metrics God uses to measure what is seemingly successful, because it's seeming success, it's not actual success. You will find that you begin to unravel layers of things that you never knew existed. And once you do, guys, that's when you start to really live.
Yes.
So you start to really live. Then you see you. Hey, Jesus, that's why Isaiah 55. Hey, it was an encounter I can never forget in my entire lifetime, because I saw me and something leapt inside of me.
Wow.
Like a connection was drawn between me and the throne room, and I could. That's an encounter every visionary should have. When you have that, let me tell you, you'll be immovable, unshakable, inuprootable. The challenges will come, but you have caught something. You have caught something. And in order for us to do what those before us were not able to do, you must catch something that is compelling. When did you say compelling vision? It's not English. Compelling means it has the ability to make you believe unequivocally. That means the kind of belief that you cannot unbelieve. That even
Yes.
if you want to doubt, as in the belief is capable of scattering doubts like this. That's what it means to catch a compelling vision. As I'm talking to you here, anybody who says just we see your Africa cannot be built, let me tell you, it's dust, Yayani.
Yes.
It's total dust. In fact, initially I used to be angry with them to say they cannot reason, but I've stopped being angry.
No.
I just look at them and I feel sorry for them. It's compassion. It's not even sorry. I feel compassion for them. When I see them talk, it's compassion. I'm like, hey, yeah, if only he has seen what I have seen. Let me just pray. God help you. Let him open his eyes to see. So you must labor in the place of prayer, communion, to catch that compelling vision. Let it not be that you are project dependent in following God. Don't be project dependent in following God. Meaning, so where are we going next? Where are you going next is right in order for you to fulfill all the things. But you must have caught the vision. You must have seen it. You must have held it. Then you can start saying, where are we going next? But if you are just going there because, let's not be as if I'm not working with God. Okay, God, where are we going next? Well, and you are deploying programs, seminar, courses, just because you want to be project dependent. After a while, even you will burn out.
Yes.
You will burn out because there's no destination. Right? So that's why I'm stressing this compelling vision, because above all things, DDK, my heart desires that we raise a breed of visionaries with such compelling vision that their vision can tear your skin. Yes. When the scripture says that I will put the fear of you in them, what he was talking about is you'll be so baptized in your vision that you enter into a place, you speak, your passion will get them to stand up and run. That's what he means in our time. So I should be able to enter into a room and talk to presidents to say, you know what, this thing you guys are doing, enough. And they are listening to me because of the passion and the fire jumping out of me. They say, who is this woman? We must obey her. That's what it means. That's what it means. So all of us must labor to catch it. As you are catching it, he's baptizing with everything you need, so that once he sends you into that place to go and dislodge them, your armory, you are ready. You are ready. Sometimes it will be fire. Sometimes it will be subtle, wise as a serpent. Right? Sometimes it will be any kind of way. Yes. Yes. So sharp that it can tear through the people's skin. And when I say tear through people's skin, it's not because you want to pepper them. It's because you want to almost hypnotize people with the vision so that 1 million people can run. Because DDK and I cannot build Africa alone. We can't. The reason why we're doing courses like Visionary Compass is because we want to awaken and activate 1 million other visionaries to become crazy like us, so to speak, looking for a funny word to use. Crazy like us to believe that something can be done. That's why we're doing courses and programs like this. So the reason why your vision must be so sharp that it can tear through skin is that when you speak to people, they catch it, they run with it. They catch it, they run with it. Jesus Christ had a compelling vision. His ministry had to be done. He raised his 12 disciples, he poured into them, the 12 got 70, and that's how it is. That's how we have the gospel being spread today, because one person was able to carry his vision, pour it onto people, and when he was not there, they ran. When they were not there, they transferred. When those ones were not there, it kept going, and that's why you see generations, and up till now, we still have the ministry of Jesus. His vision. So if we are not doing likewise, who are we emulating? Who is our role model? Do you see? And just to quickly digress a little, and that's to digress back to when we started to talk about challenges will be thrown at you. Jesus Christ right now is seated in heavenly places. All authority in heaven and earth has been given unto him. Seated beside the Father, above principalities and powers. Before he went up, he went down. Before he was elevated to that position, he went down. Suffered all of those things up onto the cross. finished the assignment, then he went up. In literal times that we are today, in order for you to go up, significance, impact, influence, or more, you will go down. Then imagine, don't let me deceive you. You will go down. Sometimes your ego, he will scatter it, as in pieces it, chew it like this. Pride, he will chew it like this and throw it. He said, "Look at your pride. I'm throwing it away," and you'll be seeing it get out. Look at your all these bad things, but aside from bad things, all those persecutions, all those, you will go through it. In my own case, one of the things he had to do with me is make me go through the ridicule of people saying to my ear, "She's confused, she has lost it, she's broke, that's why she's now doing Jesus." And all the things that people could not even say to me, because I'm a discerner of spirits, I could read it. And they thought they were persecuting or doing all kinds of things to me. I felt God was separating me. So what guys, when the devil is throwing something, stop looking at what the devil is throwing. What is God doing? What is God doing? They thought they were throwing things at me. I saw God separating me so vividly well that the difference is so clear. And in the separation, or in my yieldedness to the separation, things have moved. Things have moved. But there's always, most times, a going down to
so
go
good.
up.
Yes.
Just do that. Yeah, I'm there to settle that so that everybody knows.
Wow, what is going on here? You know, I had a big question that was on my mind today, and you already, stepped into the arena, and we can just move forward with it. So at a level of your life and your work, which is actually still you utilizing the giftings, the endowments, the enablements that you carried, you were primarily like this person who was the go-to resource person on sales, whether for small businesses, for corporations, for entrepreneurs. And that's what you were doing, right? And then you had this life transforming encounter where God puts his hand on you and starts to say, "I made you for way more." Now, the beautiful thing is he could take you to the next level because you had stewarded the current level. And I found a big lesson there as well. You see, and it's just how Jesus had his eyes on Paul, because he's like, "This is your passion. I need it."
Yeah.
So there are people who are actually going to get a placement in the oncoming vision of building the continent. You may be looking at them and feeling like, "Oh, they're not even deeply spiritual. They are hustling. They're just doing jama jama." But God is going to go after their passion. While those who feel they have a corner on God are binging on Netflix and chewing on crackers, right? So there is a work ethic that a visionary brings to whatever idea they've been given, even if it's just a small thing. Impact those 4 girls, mentor those 4 girls. You've got to give it everything for you to qualify to be moved to the next level. So at the level of being a sales guru, you were crazy at it. You were the go-to person. You were outstanding with the work. You brought your passion, your A game. And then he was like, "Girl, I have to take you to the next level, because if you can bring this level of endowment I've given to you to the higher level, that will be return on investment." People never remember that God is an investor and is looking. And I talk about this so much that I'm sure my proteges and coaching clients are tired of me. But here's the deal. He puts his hand on you and elevates the work. And he starts to say, "Look, your sales consulting is just a tiny part of who you are. Like, it's just a super small part of what I want you to do. And here's the bigger work." I want you to share that journey of transitioning from a level, because in fact, with all that, I give you another 3 to 5 years, there will be dimensions that will open up and you're going to be like, "What is this again?" So what does that transition look like? How do we navigate the discomfort that we experience personally, the shredding of a current level of identity, the likely resistance, even from our loved ones, parents and spouses, And then the opposition from those around us who say, what is this thing again? You're changing who you are. You're changing what we know you to be. Are you confused? What is your word tonight for men and women listening who are going to be going through what is called the visionary path, stages and phases of the work, and how it's becoming more elaborated as they go along?
Thank you very much. One of the first things I would say is, as much as you can, keep a very small circle. Let me say it again. As much as you can, keep a very small circle of selected people who are already on the journey to where you have been called
So
to
good.
go to.
Yep. Yep.
Selected few who have been on that journey. Selected few, because even amongst those people who you are surrounded, you must be careful whose voice enters into your ear, because sometimes a supposed mentor figure, the person's heart may not be as big as your heart in terms of the things that you have traveled in God.
Selah.
So you may be talking to a mentor who hasn't gone to those heights and width and depth with God, and you're telling him things and looking at you and saying, is it not me that brought you to this visionary life? What are you saying? You know, so imagine if DDK is not somebody who I know is grounded, and I shared with her that, God has started talking to me about paying the debt of African nations. Imagine if she was not that kind of person. She would have said, what's wrong with you, just?
What's wrong with this one?
You get? But these are legit conversations that, I have by way of traveling on journey with God, and a lot more that I may not be able to say today. So first thing, surround yourself, small circle, selected, if possible, divinely selected. The scripture says, though I give you the bread of adversity, your teachers will not be far from you. So the first question to ask is, who is my teacher for this season? Ask that question. Because if you are not paired with your teacher for this season, you'll be oscillating up and down. You will catch this today, you'll catch that tomorrow. So the biggest blessing God can give you first is connecting with your teacher. And in that season of my life, how I met DDK, maybe I never shared this story with you. I started to pray that prayer. You and I met, I think, in February. That encounter was in February. I can't remember, but I think in February. Yeah. I started to pray that prayer in January to say, God, who is my teacher for the season? And during those period, DDK, 3 different ladies said, have you seen this lady? DDK, check her out. I would go on your profile, and in my carnality, I would say, she's not doing much now. Carnal person, very carnal. Apple, we have plenty on that table. Those of you who are listening to me, carnality, judging people by number of followers, number of likes. Get out of that table and get out of it quick, quick, quick. And 3 different people had mentioned it to me, mentioned DDK to me. I'll go and look. I said, nothing's happening there. Because she's not a noisemaker, I felt nothing was happening there. I was used to noise making as the yardstick for success.
Wow.
So allow me shatter another table. Hello, noise making is not the yardstick for success. I post 1 million times and it's making sense. It's not a yardstick. In my praying, I believe God loves me so much that he made sure that DDK and I met at an event. Because Gaskia, he made sure me and DDK met at that. DDK, that meeting, it was orchestrated. It wasn't for you, it was for me. Yeah. And when Olori invited me for that event, I had come from the office because then I was still working, and that day I was not even in the mood, quite frankly. And I just sat down. DDK came in towards the end, very simple looking. As she entered, I looked at the face. I said, it's not the girl they've been telling me about. But I just sat down and faced my front and crossed leg. For me, fly. For me, cool. For me, cool for your destiny. And then she entered, she sat down. But my spirit kept telling me, this is the lady, this is the lady. So I'll look at her, I'll take my face. I'll look at her, I'll take my face. As God will have it, I spoke before her. And as I spoke, I recognized that she too was feeling something, and there's something about this person, right? And then when I came down from speaking, she said, that was such a fantastic presentation. I love it. I love your fire. That's how she said it, very simply. And then when she went on stage, immediately she opened her mouth. That thing leapt inside of me. And I said, yes, this is the girl they've been telling me about. It's time to stop being stubborn. Immediately after our presentation, we hugged each other like we had known each other, and that was it. Immediately, I connected with her, bought her course, one of her courses, in fact, some of her courses, and that's where we are at today. Why am I sharing this? Who is your teacher for the season? Pray to God about. Don't do bandwagon, I beg you, please. So that what you're supposed to spend 1 year to learn, you won't spend 10 years learning it.
So good.
That's what happens if you're not connected to your teacher for the season. Not saying because everybody is going with this, you go with that, right? And then that's the first thing. Your teacher, surrounding yourself with small circle. And sometimes you're going to prayerfully pray those circle into your life.
Yes.
Yes. You will prayerfully pray the right people into your life. Yes. If not, let me tell you, the enemy is waiting in one corner, waiting to send somebody your way that will scatter the entire thing God has sent you to do. Yes. Oh, yes. That's when you will not send a girl that likes to give you latest gist in town. Have you heard what Davido did? And then you people will gist Davido and Wizkid from morning to night. At the end of the day, you feel useless. So you must pray the right people into your life. Right now, I'm surrounded by 2 or 3 people. Very lean 2 or 3. Yes, and those 2 or 3, their head is fire. Oku.
Why?
You. You know, Oku in Igbo is fire. Why? We're sharpening our skills together. They're not making noise right now. They're still in the incubation stage, right? But fire that 3 of us can call ourselves at 12 midnight and we're capacity 2 hours, 3 hours in tongues. Those are the kind of girls I'm looking for in my life. You better be praying people into your life so that God will be using people and God will come and tabernacle with your circle to be giving you clearer visions on how to go. Right? That's step 2. Step 3 to now do after you have gotten this compelling vision is to zero your mind to understand who sent you.
Okay, now.
Let me break this one down. Jesus. When God told Moses to go and tell Ramesses, Pharaoh, to release his people, Moses said, excuse sir, if they ask me, who are you? What do I say? His concluding that mission is dependent on him understanding who sent him, the power of the person who sent him, so that he can go with full chest and go and deliver. Let me break it down to today's world. Who sent you is not going to be based on what you have been taught in church about God. It's not going to be based on what you have learned here and there. It's not even going to be based just on what you read in the scripture. You're going to have to press in to know the dimensions he wants to deal with you for a time such as this. It's important. And that's why you as a person, as a visionary, must sometimes settle down to know the names of God and understand the meaning of each name. Yes. You won't end up that. While you are studying all of those philosophies, God most times will reveal to you a dimension he wants to deal with you in form of a name. So that any day you want to go down, you have a name to call him that he will say, Justice is calling me. Yeah. One of those days, DK, I was, one midnight like that, I was just worshiping. And I just heard something in my spirit. I'm not Yoruba, but I heard something in my spirit. Adanidato. Call me Adanidato. And I said, He said, yes, that's the name you should call me, just Igwe. I want to take you and turn you into a sign and wonder. He started to break down the meaning of the name. I didn't know the meaning of Adanidato, but he started to break it down in his own explanation to me. When my father finished, I lay down on the floor and I'm like, who is this God? So on the days when I'm praying, I call him Adanidato, something different happens. That's pressing into a dimension where he begins to show you how he wants to deal with you. So that you almost are entering into a covenant that When you get to a certain place, you are guaranteed that if Jehovah Shammah does not show up, Adanidato will show up. Because everything I need, he has put there. Because with him saying, I'm Adanidato, it means that Harvard will not define who you are. Harvard will not define who you are. A meaty diet, that's how he was saying to me. But have put it inside of you. Now, he went further to say, you see this dimension I've revealed to you. Just like you have Jehovah Shammah, Jehovah, all of these things on Google. You say, write an article, put it on Google. Let the world know that you have uncovered a new name for God called Adanidato. I did the article, I put it out there. After putting it out there, 2 weeks later, I got invited to a radio show on Redeemed Christian Church to come and talk about the names of God. Isn't that funny? That he had revealed a name to me. He told me to write an article that these people did not know. I got invited to talk about it, and then I unveiled to the world what I had found so that others can deal with God in that dimension. In understanding who sent you, you would recognize that you are immovable, unshakable, because he cannot fail. He cannot fail. He can see, God. I don't know how to explain this. So I'm explaining this to an unbeliever, it may be hard. But to a believer, when you get into knowing who sent you, yesterday I was reading the scriptures and I recognized that God did not only part the Red Sea, he also parted River Jordan. I didn't even know that before. I just found it yesterday in Joshua. So it's not only one place that God parted sea. And you see, DDK, the miracles and signs and wonders of God, they can never be outdated. Yeah. That he parted Red Sea those days, you think he can't part it today for you? That manna came to give in the desert. You think you cannot eat angels food? See, let me tell you guys, I have been telling God, me, I want to taste angels food. The angels should enter my room and come and give me the food. I have been saying it, and I know it will happen. Why? God is not outdated. God is not outdated. So you must press into that dimension of really knowing this God. And on your visionary journey, right? In the first few months, all he will tell you, sometimes all he will tell you is just reading the Bible. You may feel stupid, but it happens a lot. All he will tell you, just sit down with the word. In the first 3 to 4 months, all I was doing is reading the Bible. And I'll ask myself, sure, is this all the work I'll be doing? He said, sit there, read it. All I was doing is reading the Bible, praying, worshiping for 3-4 months. Why? He's invested in knowing him. If you don't know him, you can't represent him because they will cheat you. If you don't know that your father is the owner of Dangote and you go out, they will cheat you. That's how it is. So if you don't know the capacity of the Papa will send you, the world will cheat you. Satan is older than you will ever be. He was there when everything was, for lack of a better word, he knows a lot of the things that you will never really know. So he knows those tricks. And it's in your sitting with God that you can partner with God. It's in your sitting with God that you can partner with him to defeat the enemy and get things done. So invest in knowing God. Don't jump on every teaching, every word this, every program because you want to hear about God. It's great. It will edify your spirit, but you must know him. In knowing him, the interpretations that he will give you based on the things others know may not be what he will give you. Why? Because to each person, he has his dealing per time. Once you settle that you want to really know this God, when every other person starts talking, let me tell you what will happen. Is it will enter here, it will come out here. It's not because you're arrogant, it's because you have invested in knowing who sent you. And he that is with you is greater by every level, every means possible than every other thing in the world. Once you have that conviction, every jab, you try to like this and you continue, right? Having said that, the other thing to take note of in this journey is, I mentioned it earlier, is to not focus on the issues, focus on what God is doing at that time. Because the scripture says what the enemy meant for evil, God made for good. God did not turn it for good as though he caught him unawares. He didn't catch him unawares.
Wow.
So what the enemy is doing, he has already turned it to good. He has seen the end. At every point in time, as you're seeing it coming, is what are you doing with this? And I'm just going to share a story with you guys. Earlier in my marriage, I mean, for somebody who's a very strong personality, you would recognize that I'm very opinionated. I'm very almost domineering, right? And earlier in my marriage, that's how I've been. It's not like I'm unruly, I'm not rude, but if there's something to be trashed, I'll bring all the points to the table, analysis. You know those, women like us that break it down step by step and just try to know. I was like that. What I did not know is that seated inside this, I want to always have all my points, teeth to teeth, explain it. Seated inside it is some level of pride that I did not know. And as a woman, you may not know, especially if you're a strong personality, you may not know. That inability to keep quiet when something is being done wrong because you have to always speak, sometimes there's pride inside it. Yes, sometimes there's pride. Because even Jesus, when they slap him, we say when they slap you, turn the other side. It doesn't mean be stupid. What he's trying to tell you is that sometimes, auntie, it's not everything you put. Let them have it sometimes. Right? Early in my marriage, I noticed that that's how I was. And one of those days, I was lying in my bed, and my husband had done something. I ordinarily would burst out. That thing he did, I was on my rights, DDK. As in, if we go to court of law, this one, they won't even sit for 2 seconds. They say this person is wrong, this person is right. And then the Holy Spirit told me to shut up. Very soft voice. He said, just shut up. Meaning, Holy Spirit said, shut up. You cannot hear what he's doing. You cannot see that what he's doing is wrong. Why are you not telling him to stop? He said, he wanted money to shut up. Money, okay. I shut up. As I shut up, it was paining me. You know those kind of pain, that excruciating pain. Let me tell you the worst part. It's not bad enough that he told me to shut up. He not told me to open my mouth.
They always apologize. Yes. Welcome. Yes.
He said, say I am sorry, Money. Never. I will not do that. Only, you know how the Holy Spirit does. You have finished talking. Has taken his face. I've told you. And I heard it very clearly. It's not as if I was saying I did not hear. Because even if you pretend you did not hear, your heart will be because he has told you. I had to open my mouth and say, I am sorry. My husband looked and said, Who is the person on the bed? That can't be my wife. He said, I'm sure that was the expression on his face. That can't be my wife. Guess what happened, the Holy Spirit said, by this singular act of obedience, I have swallowed up pride in your life forever. I have swallowed up pride. He says, so that ability to be able to say I'm sorry at every point in time in your life, you will never struggle with it again. Just by this singular act of obedience. And let me tell you what it has done. It has made my marriage so healthy that there can be no air. No air anymore. If you did something I'm not happy, maybe you get just one singular act of obedience. Why am I sharing this? In allowing you grow on this visionary path, you must be malleable to allow him remove things from you that can propel you faster. You may not even know those things will hold you down, because when you are shaking in your home, if you're a married woman, it will affect every other thing. And guess what? The enemy is going to come after it with sweat, blood, and tears. He will come after it with every arsenal possible, plus dream, plus visions, plus mind games. You know those mind games that you just enter, nobody did you anything. You are carrying nose. And in carrying nose, you will see something that will make you carry nose even further, and everything will scatter. Almost is going to be plenty. And I told one of my mentees last week, I said, listen, the greatest attack of the enemy in our time is against your mind. If he can attack your mind, that's it. It's done. So what? You carry iron bar. What do they call that thing? Iron bar. And mount guard on your heart. It's called building a hedge. A hedge of fire. Fire. As in fire that as you are thinking it, you are beginning to speak the word to counter that nonsense. I say, where are you coming from? My friend, get out of my life. Have you heard what God said about this? To counter it. Right? So I've given you 4 steps. I think the final thing I'm going to say here today is solitude. And a lot of the speakers have said it. Solitude cannot be overemphasized. Yes. In your life, you find out that as a visionary in the early part of your growth journey, you would spend a lot more time in quiet than you spend in doing. Meaning nothing may be happening in your life for a while. And it's okay. Because when nothing seems to be happening physically in your life, you are gaining ascendance in the spirit. That once you start to deploy, they will say, where did she come out from?
So good.
So, solitude. These days, I intentionally block off my Mondays and Tuesdays and work for just 3 days in a week. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing, because I recognize that in those 2 days, the kind of things I will get done. If you put all the other 3 days together, I can't get it done. Solitude is so key. And even within your environment, it's not just solitude of, okay, staying off social media, regulating your content. It's not just that. It's even solitude within your environment. Try to create an atmosphere in your environment that is regulated.
So good.
Unnecessary noise, try to keep it away. Surround yourself with worship. You know, I had to beg my husband to put these speakers in the ceiling of my house. They're not expensive, like $15 or so. I can't even remember how much. It's not expensive. So that once I wake up, I'm sleeping, it's gospel music that's flooding my house. So that the angels are ascending and descending. My home is Jehovah Shammah, is Zion. God lives here. And in that atmosphere, revelation is, back to back. In every conversation, you're seeing revelation. That's how to mount guard over your life as a visionary, because you are a chosen select few. Let me say it again. As a visionary, chosen, select few. And you are the total focus of the enemy and everything they ever represent. Because he knows that if he can demoralize you, God's agenda will not be done. And so you too, you must come with that equal level of, I know you are there. I'm going to mount guard so that you don't come close. Right? And just to quickly add this, while all of these things are going on, it doesn't mean that you will not have challenges, because I need to quickly balance it. Even while you're mounting guard, you're doing everything that needs to be done, you will have challenges. While those challenges are coming, here's what you will do. Make sure that you have 2 or 3 people that you know you can always pray and agree on something for. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to be able to get into a space in your life where you know that when you pray, God will answer. Let me say it again. You need to be able to get into a zone where you know that if I pray, he will answer and I will see results.
Yes.
Yes. You must see that one, don't even agree for God. Magba, don't agree. He needs to let you know that when you pray, he will answer. Because it's a condition. If he does not answer, why are you there? Such that if my daughter is not feeling fine, I can take her and hold her under God and say, Father, before I wake up tomorrow morning, this thing has to go. And I know he will answer. You must fight to enter into that place. So that if once you are guaranteed that all those things are sorted, every other thing is binty. Every other thing is binty. So that I will not be taking care of one, you're not seeing a child that is doing this. I know all those things will come, but see, God, you must answer. After there's provision in your word. There's provision in your word that you answer. So no more haphazard. I pray to them. I'm waiting. Label. My sister, DDK, you remember that period now that I went for a retreat 3 days? I came back. They called me and said my father had a stroke. From where? You remember that period? I said,
yes.
From the next day, I called DDK. We agreed together. We prayed. After praying, my husband said, okay, let's do conference family prayer. And as we started to pray, I remembered Hezekiah's story where on the 3rd day, he said on the 3rd day, he will rise up and go to the temple. I held on to that. I said, Father, you see this chain of prayer we're doing, 3 days, what I give you. My father will drive himself to church. I don't care where this thing is coming from. We stayed on that prayer on the 3rd day. My father drove to church. by himself.
And it was a really, really serious level of stroke. So
Oh,
it
yes.
wasn't a small, yeah, it was
He could
serious.
not walk his 2 legs. He could
Yes.
not move. Somebody was just, nothing was wrong with him. BP was not high with DDK. So it was an attack. So you will get a lot of those things. It will come from left, right, and center. You will fight. Some days fasting, prayer. Yeah, and that period, I know I did 3 days dry. It will take a lot from you. Be willing to pay the price. All those things, they are small. But when you start to see the results, because the results are going to come. My sister is working that level of result, and there's a lot more, right? But there's a lot of labor underneath it that the world will not tell you. Yes.
So good.
Be aware. Walk in it. While you're working in it, keep yourself accountable with a few people who are going somewhere. Have
Yes.
prayer partners. Hey, that one is very important. There was something Dedicate taught us at Jehovah Shammah. You know, identify. Okay, I don't think was it Dedicate identifying your Melchizedeks. Yes,
Yes.
identifying Melchizedeks.
Yes.
Those who, and there's this guy that God has put in my life since last year. I didn't even know that was a role until you spoke about that. I started to
Yes.
now review how this guy came into my life. It was an exact Melchizedek architecture. I didn't know, just came from nowhere. The Lord gave him a word for me, did not know me from anywhere. And as I saw that word, I reckoned immediately in the spirit that this guy is true. And we started to pray together, occasionally. I didn't even know. Until then, I started to reorder the honor. And
Yes.
because I wasn't doing that before until that class. I reordered the honor to place him in the position God has put. For a lot of us, we may have it, but because they're not popular, we don't regard them as anything. This guy, in my own case, very young. He's younger than my younger brother. You see him, a very young boy. So it's easy to almost dismiss, if not for wisdom. Thank God for DDK. So for some of you are going to have to get those in your life where you can agree with, pray with, break bread with, and have them speak over your life. And as once in a while, as the Lord leads you, you can deliberately sow into their lives. Deliberately. It works. It works.
It works.
Let me just pause there so that you can take other things.
Wow. Okay, guys. Like, who is Joss? Please. This has been definitely very instructive. Very instructive. I believe that you came and you allowed yourself be a vessel because you've spoken specific. As you spoke, I could tell distinctly that the Lord was dealing through you on specifics for people on this call and so many who will watch. I feel like my final question, and then we'll be able to take a few before we close out today from some of our siblings on the call, is around reiterating again. The moment we connected, you immediately got onto unbundling 2020. You started to come over to Kingdom Women Global Alliance event. We're discussing, we're meeting up. So it feels like you latched onto the principle of just saying, hey, this is my teacher, and I'm going to come after this person. I'm going to build that relationship, right? I'm going to make the needed investment, to get what they have for me. And I just wanted us to speak a little bit to this matter of discerning teachers and then throwing yourself into a learning system. I think that one of my greatest concerns for those who are emerging as visionaries, God has put a vision in your heart. There's an idea you're working on. There's a solution you can create, but you are going solo. There's so many visionaries who are going solo, right? Who are not making the investment. We've got Visionary Compass out now. It's a really high tier, a high tier coaching program. We've also got Immerse Circle that has, gone live now. I think we've been on for a few weeks or maybe over a week. And the truth is, people are going to always be in a situation in their life where they feel like, will this be worth it? Should I make this investment? Should I get into this coaching relationship? Should I get into this mentorship relationship? Should I buy this resource? And I don't know, in my case, it's hardly ever been a consideration. My heart may beat, but I put money on it, right? I've learned from my coaches, Oleg, Dr. Cindy Trim, Marshawn Evans, and I keep accessing the resources that have helped me extend myself. I want you to speak to how to experience a mindset shift that makes us willing to make the investment into our growth, becoming willing to make the investment into our transformation without constantly feeling like, I don't know, but where should money go? Should money go in investing into ourselves? But it looks like people would rather spend money on stuff than on themselves. How do we knock off this mindset so that we can move forward?
Thank you. So I'm going to answer your question by asking the audience a question. And while I ask this question, audience, sit down and ask yourself some honest questions. Let it sink. If you knew where God was sending you to, why haven't you started doing it before? Let me say it again. If you knew where he was sending you to, if you understood the industry so well, why weren't you doing it before? It means that, see, you're a novice in this thing. That's why he called you. And you have to show your calling. What's that scripture? Show your calling approved. Show yourself approved. That's the scripture. And in showing yourself approved, you have to be schooled. It's as simple as that. Apostle Paul, before he became one of the most powerful, he was schooled. As a school, and you will recognize that his level of delivery, I don't want to use the word delivery. If you read his doctrines, his books, you will know that this person is schooled. He allowed the team pass through. He passed through. So there are vivid examples of people who allow themselves to be schooled in what they have been handed by way of assignment. And let me also put it to you that we're in an era where your currency for influence and wealth is no longer value. It's transformation.
Yes. Wow.
So you can go online and Google value. All you ever get is value. You can't Google transformation. Let me tell you how you get transformation. You get transformation by investing in vessels that have been anointed for a time such as this to transform your life, your mind, your thinking patterns, to produce what has been kept inside of you latent. You don't. Hey, Jesus.
You can't Google transformation.
No, you can't.
Hi.
Let me tell you why again you can't Google transformation. Because people like DDK, and me and some of those other visionaries, when we put out courses, they're not courses. They are courses born from communion and fellowshipping with a spirit. So as they're coming into your life, it's coming to break something. Yeah. That's why you take a course. And what will happen to you? Say, that one thing, I got this one aha moment. And just that one aha moment would change it completely. Do you think it's the cause? No. It's what has happened by her fraternization with a spirit to transform your life. You cannot Google that. You can't. So if you are listening to me today and you want to Google your way, good job. But when you finish Googling 2 years, you will come back and start from where your mate started from 2 years ago. In my case, when I bought Unbundling DDK, that period, I was building that app. Remember that app for that my tech company?
Yes, yes.
And that week, I had a deadline to pay the exact amount of money I paid to you. That week, I had a deadline to give them that exact money. I had gotten that money. I was to pay it into their account. But I said, no, future first. Even if that was an investment into my business, that was also an investment into my business because I was building the app. Wow. I paid it to start a journey. In starting a journey with her, all the other things are history. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I want you to sit down where you are and say, Googling online course is value you will get. And when you give value, you'll be applauded. They'll say, this person gives value. You will get likes, you will get followers, you get all those things. But the real proof of People who will last, whose voices will be heard, who will enter into palaces and reign and legislate with kings, people who will summon nations, who will summon kings. It's not value, it's transformation. So, as a visionary, I need you to settle that in your spirit that what you require is transformation. There are people who have been anointed to transform people's lives radically, especially if you're a visionary. And you know, DDK handles this so well. By the grace of God, I've been graced to help visionary entrepreneurs. So we are moving entrepreneurs from just living for sustenance, I want to make money, to making them see a need to provide value for the ecosystem. That thing is not done by Google work. If not, United Nations will have been transforming entrepreneurs. They can't do it. You know why? They have not been anointed to do it. A few people have been anointed to touch people's lives with what they get from heaven. Turn it into blueprints and deliver to change lives and cause the result we want to see.
Wow. Hey. Okay now, guys. I'm trying to put myself together. I'm trying to be on my best behavior, but this is a lot for me. What? I love it. And I love the comments that I'm reading tonight. People who will ask that their voices will be heard. You can't Google transformation. Wow. There are people who have been anointed to handle visionaries well. I love it. Wow. So good. I'm happy to take a few questions. Shade, thank you. Shade says, do ability course transformed my life? I want you to put up your questions. We'll be able to take maybe 2 or 3 before Just leaves tonight. And I get that memo on transformation. That is at the heart of the work that we have done since 2014 at Immerse Coaching Company. Now getting to an almost 50,000 plus member community in 99 countries. It's really about transformation. It's about metamorphosis. It's about a shift that truly changes the results in your life. I love it. This is just so good. Marilinda, go and drink water. Marilinda says, let me drink water. You deserve to drink water. Okay, we're waiting for the questions, and I would love to remind you again that Visionary Compass is out. Visionary Compass is out. Look at Yagazi's testimonial. She's just so hot, honestly. She is hot. Okay, so Yagazi really, really blows my mind because I remember our experience in the program together as a one-on-one coaching client. I remember, I have a strong recognition of how she literally became a different person just being a part of my one-on-one coaching. And I love it when she says DDK is patient, attentive, thorough, and has a systematic approach to problem solving. Like, I do like that very much. So you are still going to be able to access our 20% discount. Visionary Compass is 40-week long accelerator program for men and women who want to scale, move into legacy leadership, not just this year, in the course of this decade. Even for those who feel I'm not super clear, come over, we'll clarify it, then we'll get you to launch it, we'll get you to grow that vision, that assignment, that mandate that you've received. And if you built it and it's already growing, then it's time to scale it, hit new markets, expand the audience, and elevate into credibility and authority as you make impact and you grow wealth. Because impact and transformation they are capital intensive. So you need to convert the vision, right, into transformation and earn value from it so that you can pass on that wealth and use it to create legacy, philanthropy, help others, right? So for sure, we are proud of those who have jumped on board already, and we're waiting for you as well to make this very important investment that moves your life into elite performance. IB has a question, and I love you so much. Thank you, Oge. Oge says, Immerse Inner Circle is all about transformation. Josephine says, Firebrand transformed my life. I'm really happy to know that. IB says, which is advisable, working with my body or telling my body what to do? You spoke about solitude. The only time I have now to self is nighttime. But when I stay awake at night, it affects my productivity. Okay, I'll hear from Just first, and I will share my thoughts on that as well.
Okay, so when I answer questions, I like to be practical. Before now, I worked in a bank. I was in banking for about 8 years, and I would leave my house early in the morning at 6, and I would come back sometimes 8, 9, and I would work during the night for my side business because I started consulting about 4 5 years ago, in fact 5 years ago, right? So I was working in the bank and still doing my consulting job by the side. So I would do this every day of my life and still go to work. In the early years of my life, I was in operations. That means I had to do typing, enter this, enter that. And you have to be clear what you are saying before you go and type 1 million instead of 100,000, right? So I did this consistently for upward of 4 plus 5 years in that particular department. And I still kept doing my business. Why? Determination. Determination. So, book gist gang, the first thing you want to recognize is what it is you are doing that is not necessarily what you do during the day. It's not just a side thing. The reason why you think you are tired is because you see it's a side thing. If you recognize that you are one person working 2 jobs and those 2 jobs are important, your mind, you need to first decentralize it in your mind that you are one person working 2 jobs that are important. And so that mind of, I finished one job, let me go and do the other one. If you do it that way, you would always find yourself not having enough energy for the second one because in your heart they are compartmentalized. The first, the second. This is I'm saying that not necessarily they may not sound logical, but that's how it happens in the mind, right? And so once that happens in your mind, the next thing is to pray for God to give you the strength. The Holy Spirit can strengthen you. And there are days when you tell you, see, you are too tired, go and sleep. We'll do it another day. You have to learn to walk with Him that way. If you feel like these two things are such a conflict that you're not having time to do the other one, He would help you. And when you get to that point where you can't actually handle the other one and you need to focus on this other one that is the supposed visionary thing, He will let you know. But while you are at it, there is grace for you to run the two simultaneously, seamlessly, and not be affected. Why? There are people who have done it repeatedly and they are doing it every day. I am proof that that sort of life is possible. I believe that that's one of the reasons why God made me have a 9 to 5 experience so that I can do what I do by the side and there won't be any excuse. And one of the other things I like to say is that as women, we are graced. I don't need to emphasize that so much. As women, we can actually handle a lot, especially if we understand our body and we know when to stop. The goal here is not to become a slave to work that you don't know when your body is telling you to stop. Once you understand your body that it's time to rest, you go rest. But when you have trained your body to handle the both, give hours, specific hours. This morning job, I go, I come back by 6. I do homework for children between 6 and 9 or 10. They are gone to bed. Maybe 11, 12. I can do my own work, or I will sleep and wake up at 3 and do my own work till 6 when I have to prepare and start the other day. Structure your time. It is very possible, it is doable. And then ask the Holy Spirit to help you because this other path needs to really be done. Another thing that you should invest in is exercise. I know this is not really talked about a lot, but it has changed my life. See, if you are not exercising regularly, you'll be sleeping. Let me not lie. You'll be sleeping, and you will think, oh, I'm just balling, I'm just resting. You're not well rested, auntie. Your body's not challenged. Exercise. In exercising, I'm not saying go and carry weight. As basic as taking a walk for 30 minutes, skipping for 10 minutes, doing cardio or dancing and just having some sweat come out. Very basic stuff. You find that there are lots of endorphins entering into your blood system and you're fired up for the day. And that those endorphins can take you for half a day without standing up from your seat. That's how I was able to finish my course on economic development on sustainable development in less than 2 days. What will ordinarily take a week or two, I sat down with it in 2 days. I finished it and I got my certification. I'm on to 2 other courses on economic development and government policy, all of those things that I require to be positioned to be who God says I should be. So don't blame your physical nature or what you have going on in your life as the reason why you cannot grow. Sorry, God doesn't allow that. Because even He in God is multi-breasted, is multifaceted, and you are an image of the invisible God. If He can do it, you can do it too. And guess what? The Holy Spirit is there to help you through those days where you cannot power through. I have found myself on days where I thought I could not pray. I prayed in tongues for several hours. Why? What happened there? It's the Holy Spirit. He's there to help. So you must recognize that help is there and tune in consistently. And please, book gist gang. I need you from today to stop telling yourself that your body is tired. Stop saying it. If your body is tired, rest. Stop saying, don't say things like my body is always tired after 2 days, after a whole day's job. The more you keep saying that to yourself, your body keeps telling you I'm tired. It's never gonna change. So you are going to tell it what you want it, but you must be reasonable enough to know when it's actually tired and rest. While your day is properly structured, you would find that in a very structured day, you would have organized your life to have at least 8 hours of sleep. It's even plenty. Who does 8 hours a day? But that's fine. For those who are just who are just
8 hours.
8 hours is okay. For those who are, so structure your day. I think this should help you. It's circular.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take this question from Victoria. She says, how can one navigate the season when God seems silent as a visionary? My simple answer is always that God is never silent because there's actually the Bible. That's usually my simple answer. I know that we all always sort of desire this type of relationship where you're having revelations or revelatory insights and there's a word coming to you. You feel like I got a specific word. That is just a portal. There are multiple portals through which, God speaks. And if you feel like you're not hearing something now, as against you asking God, what next? Maybe He's asking you, daughter, what last? Right? So we're in a phase where you feel like you're not having, active revelatory insight, trust the scriptures. He's already spoken. So you go back to the scriptures and take that as God giving you a word now. And then on the other side, revisit counsels and instructions you've received and hold on to what you received next, while you are, trusting for a new season or a new counsel to come to you. I don't know if Just would like to add something to that.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. I believe that as visionaries, we know we must document our encounters, our dreams, our conversations, our instructions. I have up to 4 books already from just conversations, right? On days where I feel like, all these things he said to me, what's up now? I go back and read. And like, sometimes you even find conversation, you'll be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We had this conversation, really? Like, it's going to be like a fresh date, you guys, because sometimes you legitimately forget those things and just going through them almost like rekindles that, oh yeah, now I know how you and I are, and get back into that zone, really. And one of the things I do a lot when God is silent is I worship and I just practice telling him things, even things. When I say telling him things, the Holy Spirit and I now go through the day together. When I say go through the day, even when I want to pick pants, it's funny. I do it deliberately because I want him to be so invested that he's like, "What's wrong with this girl? She's not. Am I? That's what I want." Like, I want to pick an earring. This evening, before I came on, I took one earring and I said, "Is it this one better?" It's like, "No, change the other one." I change. That's what I do throughout the day, so that my life is so guarded by him. On the days where I think he's not talking, I start telling him things, telling him just be saying different kind of things, so that I shall know I'm gisting with somebody, right? And Sometimes you just hear a giggle. He's there. He's actually there, right? Even when he's not talking, he's there. So I'm supposed to say, why are you not talking? Sometimes asking what's going on with you. Mm. Sometimes God wants people to ask what's going on with him. Sometimes what's going on in your mind? How are you feeling today? What do you want me to do for you today? Not for me, for you. Sometimes let's do that. Because guess what? Some days he actually needs people to do that. Because he's God every day. And one of the things I always say to people also is the one thing God cannot give himself is thanksgiving. He can't give himself that. So we are the ones. No wonder King David was so dear to God's heart. Because that guy knew how to, he would enter the, thank you, oh, thank you, oh, thank you. He mastered it. So if God is not speaking, switch it, thanksgiving. Remember all the things he has done. You did this. Wow. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Let it be your everyday lifestyle. Right? I think that when you keep doing that, you will find out that he's already a part of you. So you will not depend on his talk to feel like he's there. You see what I mean? I
I
hope
love
that,
it.
yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Just. I feel like a great way to close is to, our people already know that Visionary Compass is live and you can register. You can, be a part of it. myvisionarycompass.com. Immerse Inner Circle is also live. You can be a part of it at immerseinnercircle.com/join. And I would love us to talk about the Association of African Startups, the number of visionaries here who want to build Africa. And we would love you to share a plug where we can, connect with that and be able to be also a part of that community so that it strengthens everyone's ability to really build a work that improves and grows the continent.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'll talk about that. But there's one thing that the Holy Spirit is impressing upon my heart. Can I say it? I don't know why, but it's burning so much. Just allow me to quickly say this. And he says that as visionaries, we should be very clear on the one thing that our existence represents to take care of. I don't know if that English is clear. As visionaries, be very clear on the one thing that what you have been given is a solution to. Be very clear on that one thing. It says when you are also now very clear on that one thing, connect that one thing to helping people build the cardinal and the theological virtues. Cardinal virtues, resilience, staying power, justice, those things that we need to build healthy and wholesome societies. Then theological virtues, love, peace, self-control, happiness. So your solution, embedded in your solution, should be able to bring out these things in people. He says your world is the way it is because these virtues are missing. Your world is the way it is because even the people of the world are looking for the things in men only God can give. So a satanic employer is looking for people who are honest, who are God-fearing, who are loyal. Who gives that? God. But guess what? There are no institutions alive raising people with such virtues anymore. That's why the world is degrading. If we are going to change that, my friends, if we're going to build this world, if we stand any chance whatsoever from redeeming our world from the supposed climate change that is going to destroy the world, all those things they've been saying, we need to build people who can restore the values, the virtues embedded in the scripture. Love. As basic as you think it sounds, if there is love in Nigeria, in 1 month, this country will transform. This small thing. If love is restored today, in 1 month, it will transform. Why? All the people who stole money, they will go and vomit it and say, I want my country to go. They'll bring it. They'll start building infrastructure. All the people who are planning to kidnap, they'll say, I love my brother. I can't put him through this pain. That's simple thing. But no institution is teaching love. So you and me who are visionaries must enter into our curriculums and embed love. How do you do that? Begin to pull people to a source. And one of the things I do majorly with my mentees, see, you must take God to do a work in your heart. That genuinely there's no competition, no beef, no envy. Because these are the root of the problems. If I envy DDK now, I'll be plotting things. I will say, this is, you think the world calls it, what they call that thing? There's one language they call it. I think I shook a table last week on Instagram when I said there's a popular phrase, God when, right? When you see somebody post a car, you see in the comment, they'll write, God when. To the world, it's a subtle way of the enemy encouraging covetousness. Yes, it's a subtle way. And if we keep doing that, what will happen is we'll start breeding people who don't know how to step out of the way and celebrate somebody. Instead, they are desirous of what that person has. And before you know it, they can steal, they can kill to get to that position. What is happening? Societal degradation. So as visionaries, embed love, a pure heart, those things into your curriculum so that you're raising people who are balanced. You're not raising people who will enter into the world and replicate what the enemy has propagated for the longest time. You must be the change, and you must be deliberate and conscious in embedding it in your curriculum. And don't be unapologetic about doing you. And let me tell you why. The world says that, why are you talking Jesus every time on social media? Why are you putting Jesus inside of this thing? Let me tell you something. Online courses that you buy from the West, they put vibration inside. You know that thing they call New Age doctrine? It has been embedded into online courses from the West. I hope you don't know. I hope you know. So sometimes you buy courses, they'll tell you, meditate. New Age has been embedded.
So good.
Promoted subtly in online courses that you use your money to buy.
Yes.
And you as a Christian, they will tell you don't talk Jesus inside the course. Auntie, uncle, if you're not comfortable with Jesus, maybe I need to lay hands on you. Because in task, you see, it's very there. Our core value, spirituality is number 2 after integrity.
Yes.
Number 2. Yes. And in fact, if I'm not going to the other details, somebody asked me a question I did on Instagram. She said, please, this task is it just for Christians? And I said, we have members of other religions who are in our association. However, our organization is founded on the basis of faith, which is a virtue everybody who believes in God should have.
I love it. Wow, I love it.
Simple answer. If you call me to the United Nations today, I will tell you very clearly. It's founded on the basis of faith, which is a virtue everybody who believes in the existence of a God should have. If you're not okay with it, well, perhaps it's not time for us to do business. So as believers and visionaries, you must be deliberate about incorporating the power of God into your programs unapologetically. Because while you are yet thinking, the enemy has moved, though, he has entered it into different places in courses that you buy every day. That's why you see Christians, DDK. Christians on Instagram, we're talking about universe. Universe. What is universe? What is universe? It's God. That's what those courses are teaching them. Those new age doctrines promoting satanism, and you cannot afford Jesus. I look forward to a time where Jesus girls will be the coolest in town. That Jesus girls will be the yardstick for growth, for success, for influence, for legislation, for power. Jesus girls. How do we do that? We step in and bring Jesus at every point in time. What it is. It's a battle now. The battle has been drawn. And see, one of the things I know very well is Satan may be the prince of this world. But guess what? All power in heaven, on earth, everywhere belongs to God. And that's what I know.
Yes.
So that means trumpet, sit it, pull them, anything we want to do with them, we have the power. So be audacious about carrying the Jesus inside, outside, on your head. If he allows, there's certain places he may tell you, tone it down. right? Follow the Spirit of God. But where he says go, you go. Inside the courses, put it there. In your program, let people pray before they start. Before you go, let them people praying and say, as this courses is touching people's life, be turning their life around. You will enter double edge, double barrel, because the work we have been sent to do, it's not small. It's not. It's the pulling down, casting down strongholds, every high thing that exalts itself. You are the one to pull down those mindset strongholds. Yes, that is stopping all those people from doing what they need to do. Do you see how this works? I just need to drop that here so that we know that our work precedes just building people, building businesses, to incorporating or indoctrinating them with the virtues that the world needs to restore normalcy, the God kind of normalcy, the God kind of normalcy. I just needed to say that very quickly.
So what I hear just is there's a formula here. A visionary, regardless of where you've been sent or what you've been called to do, there is a way you can connect your work to nation building if you integrate the right values and virtues. The moment you pass that on, you're making the people within the society better. And if the people in society are better, the nation will be better.
That's it. That's it. That's the whole gospel of nation building.
Yes. Wow, so good.
Gospel, yeah.
So where can we find TAS? Can you give me the website?
Okay, yeah. www.tasafrica.org/registration. www.tasafrica. I think I spelled it wrong. Africa.org/registration. Yes, you got that. That's fast.
Thank you. This has been so beautiful, so beautiful. I have been greatly inspired, greatly touched. Yes, symbiotes, we're going to be audacious. We're going to be courageous. We're going to carry what we've been given to change the world. I can't wait to welcome you at Immerse Inner Circle, this 6th cycle. I can't wait to welcome you at Visionary Compass. You've got to go check both out and make a decision, because you might not be able to combine both. But I found someone asking, can I take Firebrand and take Immerse? I believe you can. A number of people did it at the same time. So you go check it out and see how you can fix those, significant programs into what your life looks like. Thank you so much for staying through till this time. Thank you, Joss, for being such an embodiment of brilliance and insights. And it's a joy to listen to you. It's a joy to... And I like all the things that we talk about back end, because it just continues to confirm that, look, great things are happening. And God is really raising a brand new people, a new generation. And we are so privileged to have a portion in the work, because this is going to be a very defining decade, And 1 year is going to be equals to 10, right? Every year is going to be equals to 10. There'll be speed, there'll be acceleration. Guys, I want you to get ready to join me on Monday. I will be with my brother, Daniel Etin Effiong, on Monday. So get ready for that. It's going to be something else. And you just know that I bring you the best gifts. So get ready and show up. And then on Wednesday, we'll have the grand finale. I will be interviewing myself. That's when I'll be taking a lot of the questions. And I really want to share my top 5 tips for ascending the visionary life and growing in a way that helps you move into destiny experiences on purpose. So the grand finale is on Wednesday. I'm giving you 20 tickets, 20 VIP tickets. Share it with your family, share it with your friends, get everybody on board, and let's have a big party next Wednesday. But Monday, we'll have my favorite actor in Nollywood, filmmaker, director, and actor, award-winning actor Daniel Etin Effiong joining me, and you don't even want to miss that one at all. God bless you. Thank you so much for doing this with us. And just so many of our people are just so grateful, thanking you for what you've done for us tonight. We love you, we honor you, we celebrate you, we appreciate you, and we are proud of you. Thank you, everyone. We've come to the end of Visionary Talk Show today, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a beautiful day.